Hey everyone, how's it going? Elliot here again. Welcome to the final episode of the eBay repair challenge. I'm super excited for this one because this week I get to pick whatever the hell I want to pick, and I've decided to go with my childhood Buzz Lightyear. This is a first edition Buzz Lightyear in the box. I'm super excited for it. I bought this one actually ages and ages ago before this challenge even started to kick off. And because I left it so long, I can't actually open the listing anymore, which is a little bit of a problem. But I remember exactly the faults with it anyway, but it was £20, which I think is an absolute bargain for one of these. I mean, granted the box isn't in the the best condition ever, but the fact that it's still present is pretty cool. And Buzz looks to be in pretty good condition. It's actually still got like a little sticker on it from the owner who would have had this when he was younger, which I think is really cool. £20 I think is pretty good for this. To be honest, I don't really want to sell it. I really want to keep this for myself, but obviously that is a part of the repair challenge. He seems to be in pretty good nick. I think the only sort of problem will be getting this thing off and making sure that all the residue is gone. All of these stickers are actually present, which is good. I've had a little look around, and a lot of these Buzz Lightyears, the stickers are missing. We've got Ben written on the underside. We're going to have to make sure we can try and get that off. It's probably written on there with Sharpie, so isopropyl alcohol might not actually get that off. I think all of the buttons work. But if I remember correctly, this laser button is really hard to press down. Like, I'm really forcing my finger down on that. So we might have to try and get in there and clean that. The back is actually missing. I've already got that set out here because this is what the problem is with this thing. It's completely broken. When you press this button in, it's meant to, shoot the wings out either side, and that mechanical mechanism was just not working at all. And I've taken it apart, and I've already found out what the problem was. Now, I wasn't actually intending on using this for the eBay repair challenge, so hopefully you can forgive me on opening that already. Basically, it's completely shattered into smithereens. That would have just been the pressure from this spring over the years. So we're going to see if I can, maybe glue that back together and try and put it back together. So let's go ahead and take a look at this and see if we can figure out what the problem is. Then we'll fix his laser, and then we'll give him a nice clean and put the whole thing back together. So the whole assembly for his sort of jetpack thing is in lots of different pieces. We've got the two arms down here, which just basically swings the wings open. They don't really open a lot, they're only sort of little things, but they do have a pretty nice effect when they, pop out, which is going to be hopefully what we'll be able to do once we get this back together again. There's a little bit of rust and stuff on here just from the spring, so I will oil that spring again before we put it back together. All of the screws are fine, the plastic's in pretty good condition. So obviously this being broken is what we're going to need to fix, but I also need to figure out how this thing goes back together again, because when I bought it, it was completely in pieces. So this one is actually in one piece, but I think it has a little crack on it. It's a tiny little hairline crack. So as you can see, there's a sort of a little lip around the top of this plastic bit, and there's another one of those on this piece as well, which indicates to me that we're going to be putting this like this, basically right here, and then that little spring arm is going to lock into this hole, and then that will basically keep it all nice and locked, and then this piece which snapped off will go over that and keep the whole thing together. My only concern is there's a little bit of plastic up here, so I think we might need to just shave that bit of plastic off. I have looked at a mechanism online on how this actually works, and I don't think there is any benefit having this tiny little bit of plastic sticking off here, this little burr. So I'm going to take that off, just using a knife, a sharp knife. Let's give that a go. There we go. Just like that, we've taken that off. Now what I'm going to do is super glue this piece back onto here, and hopefully the super glue will hold it there. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it will probably be okay. Okay, and then I just sit the piece down. Make sure it's all aligned properly. Okay, and that looks alright. Whilst it's sort of holding together just as the glue's drying, I'm going to get a little bit more glue along that seam. Hopefully that will just sort of build the material up a little bit and support it. I have seen quite a few people have suggested when mending broken plastic to use like baking powder as well as super glue. If this doesn't hold, I might need to use that method, but I'm pretty confident that this will actually be okay. There's quite a lot of material to bond, so I think we're going to be alright with that. Right, whilst we're waiting for that to dry, let's take a look at Buzz Lightyear's arm. Let's see, this is the one with the laser on it on this side. Okay, so let's take a look at his arm and see if there's anything we can do to fix that, which doesn't involve disassembling him fully. Let's see. Right, I've got no idea if this is the right way to be doing this or not, but it looks actually like it's going to be perfectly fine. So I'll remove these screws just a little bit more, and we should have access to the main board underneath. Yep, absolutely what I expected. So we've got a tiny little rubber membrane in here, which is conductive, and then a pad on the board. And basically that pad has a break through the middle of it. You can see it's like a sort of a windy snake. And then this little pad here joins the circuit together and makes it work. Just like the Mario clock I did in a previous repair video, we're just going to give that a clean with some isopropyl alcohol. It will come out looking brand new, hopefully. You can also use a pencil eraser as well. That should also work, or a rubber if you're from the UK. Okay, screw that all back in. So then we can just put his arm back together again, which I think is like that. Yes, very good. This laser pointer will now work. Well, it's not really a laser pointer, but it's just a red LED. Although in the film, in the Toy Story film, it actually is a laser pointer, but probably for health and safety reasons, they decided to opt out on that one. Here we go, let's give it a try. Oh, much easier. Look at that. Now I don't have to break my finger trying to press that down. Lovely, that will annoy the parents no end.
I am Buzz Lightyear.
These ones are okay,
Come in peace.
so
Lightyear to
don't need to do those. So it's actually been about 12 hours since the last clip, which means that the little piece of plastic has sat overnight and hopefully the super glue has dried. What I'm actually going to do though, I was speaking to Vince last night and he suggested to use some baking powder in combination with the super glue, and hopefully that will form a sort of a better bond. It's almost like we're, you know, recreating some material to actually support around it. So let's see if that is at all possible. Because what we can always do, you know, if we super glue that, what we can always do is, you know, remove a little bit of material later on in order to get the spring, you know, back in there and everything. So let's just chuck some of this baking powder on here. Okay, so I think I've got a pretty healthy amount on there. Let's take the super glue now and see what happens. Let's give it a try. I'll leave it to dry for a little bit. Alright, so I have actually left this sort of in the baking soda for a couple of hours now. Now I know super glue doesn't fully harden in a couple of hours, but hopefully the super glue that I've left on it overnight, combined with, you know, the baking soda super glue that we've put in there now, hopefully it will be okay. So I'm just going to clean off all of the just baking soda that's just sort of lying around on the top. So now I'm going to try and get that hole back in. I'm just going to do that with a small Phillips head screwdriver because hopefully that will sort of act as a drill. That hopefully should do the trick. Let's see. Okay, there's our hole. Right. So now we need to see if we can actually put this whole thing back together again. So I've managed to hopefully get it to hold. I'm not sure for how long. I'm pretty happy though with the result. I think that baking soda is gonna, you know, hopefully strengthen the plastic in such a
to infinity and beyond.
way. Oh my god, that was the arm that just flew out of that thing. Oh. Okay, so I have actually spent the last sort of 2 hours baking a bloody super glue cake, and I think I've managed to get it to a point where it's actually going to hold. I mean, I hope, fingers crossed. I also figured that I put these in the wrong way, I think. So now hopefully they're in the right way. The spring isn't going to be under as much pressure as it was before. But I still need to test that. And in order to do that, I need to screw this whole thing back together again. The only other thing I could suggest is if I was to mold, another piece. But I don't really think I have the equipment to do that. And this thing would start getting very expensive if I went and bought a bunch of stuff in order to just mold one piece. So hopefully this is going to be okay. We now need to attach this back on to the back of Buzz Lightyear. Here we go. So that goes on like that. And then we'll put this longer screw down here. Can Buzz finally fly again? Okay, we'll give him a quick clean because it is really, really dirty. Oh, that's never good. Okay, that is looking really, really nice. Super happy with that. Okay, so first thing we need to know is, does the arms stay closed in? Let's try. Oh, okay. Right, they're in. Now, when we press Lightyear, yes! Oh, heck yeah, result. Let's try that one more time and see if it doesn't break. Here we go. Yes! Oh, I've done it. I've actually done it. Wow, that's absolutely incredible. Okay. Happy with that. Look at that. Buzz Lightyear is looking good. So that is going to be a wrap on eBay Repair Challenge week number 5. The final video will hopefully be next week, where I'll show how much I was able to sell all of this for, and then we'll talk about the profit and hopefully find out who actually won the competition. Really happy with Buzz Lightyear. I think in order to get him fully working, I needed to give everything a bit more time to sort of all dry, and I'm really happy with the strength of it now. I think it's a lot better. I basically built up the material around the crack in a far thicker volume, which means I think this is actually going to be far, far stronger now than it was before. So yeah, super happy with Buzz Lightyear. He's come out looking lovely. The name tag has been removed. We've given him a nice clean. We fixed his laser. All of these buttons work perfectly well. And most importantly, he got his wings back. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.